Welcome to Astrobabble. I'm Donna from Donna B Astrology.
And I'm Lynda from Scullywag Astrology.
Today we're going to be talking about the full moon in Aquarius and how the aspects will affect you.
Mm-hmm.
The moon mansion is the 23rd moon mansion, and it's going to take place at 19 degrees of Aquarius, 19 degrees, 21 minutes. And I got this information from Ben Dyke's Inceptions book on the moon mansions. And when the moon is at a particular degree, they have them separated by 28 or 29 different parts. This wheel, separated. I think it's 28 parts. Anyways, this moon mansion will be good for, it will be good for healing, jewelry, journeying in the late afternoon of the day. It's actually the middle third of the day. Associations will be profitable, and escaping if you feel the need to escape.
Successful escapes, eh?
Yeah, successful escapes. So, yep. Nice. And then the things that you don't want to do is leave your belongings with others and expect to get them back in the condition that you gave them to them. Deposits are not favorable. Marriage is not favorable. Hiring is not favorable, and neither is boarding a ship. So, not real favorable. On boarding a ship for a short journey.
Well, yeah, this is a little bit ominous looking, this chart for the full moon, I think. We've got a T-square between the sun, the moon, and Uranus.
Yeah.
And Uranus is with the North Node, amping up that surprise, shocking, revolutionary. And Mars not far away from that Uranus. It would have had its conjunction with Uranus not long beforehand. Let me see. Mars, Uranus, when was that? That's on the 1st of August. And then we've also got Saturn with the moon.
Directly, so, yeah, pretty close to the moon. They're closing in on each other, so they are applying to each other.
Yeah. Yeah, Aquarius is ruled by Saturn, so it's with its ruler. But yeah, this is a little bit concerning. The Saturn-Uranus square there, they're what? 4 degrees away from each other, but getting closer.
Yeah.
When does Uranus actually stations retrograde? Soon, doesn't it? The 24th.
It will. We're like the end of July or the middle of July, the 20th of July actually. So, and Uranus is going to go retrograde the 24th of August. So it'll be within this fortnight that we're talking about.
Yeah. Also, Neptune making a sextile to Mars there, which sextiles are a helpful aspect usually, but with all this tension, I'm not sure. I'm thinking military and naval battles, perhaps.
Yeah.
That's what came into my mind, Neptune and Mars. But who knows? But yeah, a little bit of a concerning full moon, generally speaking. Just trying to think where that is in the US chart. It's in your 3rd house.
What's going to happen in the 3rd house? Well, yeah, 3rd house. So community.
Yeah.
When Mercury is going to be aspecting the USA's 1, 2, 3 by a square, by the ascendant.
Oh, yeah, to the degree. Yeah, interesting.
Because the United States has a 12-degree Sagittarius ascending.
Yeah.
So, should be interesting.
Should be. Yeah, it's really interesting. Kind of a bit of, I'm thinking somber, kind of feeling constrained with that Saturn so close to the moon. Not what I would call a joyous full moon. And then you've got that radical Uranus and Mars squaring it.
Yeah, with the North Node,
with
and
the
that
node.
means increase. So
Yeah.
you don't want increase in tension, and that's what a square is tension.
Yeah.
It means a decision's going to need to be made. How do you do a square?
Yeah. It could be quite turbulent for a lot of people, I think.
Yeah. It seems like that is what's coming down the pike.
Yeah. It makes me think of the Churchill quote, when you're going through hell, keep going.
Probably don't stop. Yeah. Just keep going. And that's exactly what we do. We move on. The sun rises. A new day comes.
So, shall we do the horoscopes?
That would be a great idea.
And before we get into that, we recommend that you read your ascendant sign. And we've just done a little video, and we'll link to that, which will explain a little bit more in detail why we recommend that you read your ascendant sign rather than your moon or your sun sign. But if for whatever reason you don't know your ascendant sign, you can read your moon or sun. Just understand that the way horoscopes, or the way we're reading these horoscopes, are set up, that they're done by ascendant sign. So it just makes sense, if you know your ascendant sign, to read your ascendant sign. So we'll link to that.
Right. So if you are an Aquarius rising, this is going to happen in your first house. And this is going to have to do with, because it's a full moon, it's things that are coming to a completion. So if you have completed, a project that you were working on for yourself, this will probably, be a good time to be wrapping it up. And you'll have the energy, not that you'll have the energy to do it, but the energy will be there to get it done. It does help. And with Saturn there, even though it's retrograde, it still can be a good foundational planet to have around. It's in domicile, so it's strong. It's just retrograde. It might not act exactly the way you wanted it to, but still, it's not too bad for a first house if Saturn is one of your friendlier planets. Because it is a malefic, and it being in your first house, it could cause you, that I think Mars is more of that external malefic sense, and Saturn is that more internal malefic kind of things that happen to you. That's what I've been getting.
Interesting. And I mean, if you're a day chart, if you're born during the daytime, Saturn's not as malefic for you. If you're born at night, Saturn tends to be your nemesis. Whereas if you're born during the day, Mars is usually the most troublesome planet for you. And if you are a Capricorn ascendant, this full moon will be happening in your second house. This is the house of your income, your finances, and your possessions and resources. So there could be some sort of high point, ending, or culmination to do with these topics. It could be you're getting a bonus at this time, or you're finally able to purchase or acquire a resource or possession that you've been after for some time.
I like that. Be some interesting times for those people the Capricorns who are, it's a good time to reassess your money. And if you are a Sagittarius rising, this is going to happen in your third house of community or early education, or it might even have to do with your siblings or your cousins, your extended family. Things that are, you're finishing up something.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if you've borrowed a dish from your cousin, you can go return it.
And if you're a Scorpio ascendant, this is happening in your fourth house. And the fourth house is your home, it's your parents, it's family in general, it's real estate, and it's your living conditions. It's also things like your heritage and, your roots, your foundation. But yeah, basically high points, culminations, or reaching a peak to do with these matters. It could be that it's nothing to do with you. It could be this is happening with your parents. Maybe they're reaching a high point, or they've been working towards something, and this is the time when it actually comes to fruition.
Very good. I can see that happening. Okay, if Libra is your ascendant, this is going to be happening in your fifth house. And the fifth house has a lot to do with what you find pleasurable. Gambling, artistic endeavors, concerts, and children. Children are the result of those happier times, usually. And so this will be having something to do with them, or that subject. So you might, if you're repainting your house, it might be that project might be finishing up. Or if you are doing repainting your house, it'd be a good time to make sure that gets finished up right around this time, because you want to finish up the projects that you have so that you can move on. That's the whole cycle of what we're doing here on the planet anyways. It's you're getting the new stuff, and then you're finishing it, and you're working it, and then you finish it, and then you wrap up and clean up, and then you work on to the next one. That's exactly, everything is cyclical, as far as these houses are run. So in the fifth house, you might be finishing up something.
When you were talking about that, it's exactly what I was thinking of, those cycles. Everything seems to be on a cycle of some type.
Yeah. This is just continuing it on.
And if you are a Virgo ascendant, this full moon is happening in your sixth house. This is the house of illness. It's employees or those that you work with. It's service to others, and it is pets. So there might be a high point or a completion or a culmination to do with those subjects. This could be you're getting surgery, perhaps it's a surgery date. Probably not a good day to have it on the actual full moon, but round about this time. Could be something to do with pets. Maybe you finally being able to bring home that pet. It's reached an age when you can bring it home, or it's graduated from obedience school or something like that. Or it could be, we were talking a couple of weeks ago, this is the house of firefighters, police, nurses, doctors. It could be a graduation ceremony, something to do with that sort of thing.
And if you are a Leo, this full moon is going to happen in your seventh house, which is your house of the one-on-one relationships or the committed relationships. So you might be working on getting engaged. This could be even, the full completion and even a marriage, could happen. This also, you could end up getting that appointment that you've been wanting to get with a, one person, or any of those one-on-one relationships might be coming to a completion if you're doing a project or something with them.
If you are a Cancer ascendant, this is happening in your eighth house. So the eighth house is other people's money. So this could be finances from a partner, whether that's business or romantic. It could be things like inheritances, taxes, insurance, loans, debts, basically other people's money or shared resources. So this could be when a loan's approved, or that inheritance comes through, or maybe you've been working on a settlement. This could be joining finances with a business partner or with a romantic partner, or it could be settlement, of, a dissolution of a marriage. This is a financial agreement, it's agreed to, and that happens.
Wonderful. And if you are a Gemini, this is going to be happening in your 9th house, and your 9th house is upper education, maybe foreign travel. I know with the COVID numbers are going up a little bit around here. Back to, travel out as much as you want. This also has something to do with publishing. If you want to publish things, or if you have a legal case, things might be ramping up to come to a completion with the full moon in Aquarius in your 9th house if you are a Gemini.
It's really interesting what you said about COVID. I mean, we're in winter down here, and they're expecting, particularly in August, to reach a kind of a peak here. Just with that Saturn there, that Uranus, Mars. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all getting that tension and that decision making.
Yeah, well, I think I just read something about, I think Fauci has just come out and recommended masks over there again. And it's interesting because they're kind of starting to recommend that here, but they're not bringing in mandates. It's not you have to. It's like, we kind of think, if you're going to be indoors, it's a good idea to wear masks. So
you're right. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, just when you were talking about that, it made me think of that. And if you are a Taurus ascendant, this is happening in your 10th house. This is a very visible house. So this has to do with your career or public reputation. With Saturn there, it could be you've been working hard, and this is where, there's the payoff. Unfortunately, if you've been misbehaving, it could be when it comes to light. But hopefully not. I mean, full moons, it can be about endings, but, it could be you're moving on from a job. It could be a boss, because it's also the house of authority figures. A boss could be moving on. Or it could be, you've been working on a project and it comes to completion at this time. Or it could be something to do with you personally, your public reputation. So this could be like you're getting married, you have a child, something like that. Yes, a child would be, you would think 5th house, or a marriage might be 7th house, but it's a very visible house. So for some reason, you're getting extra attention. So hopefully it's good attention.
Yeah, it's what you're known for, that 10th house. No, whether it's a business or, in your community, it's what you're known for.
Yeah.
So if you are an Aries, this is going to be happening in your 11th house. And 11th house is the house where you have, or your associates come from, your groups, encounter and engage with. Those would be signified by the 11th house. Those are also the people that support you. You can grasp, their support comes from the 11th house as well. So it's your friends and it's your hopes and dreams as too. So these things might be coming, to a conclusion of, you might be, ending a group to go on to another group, because you have to end and get things out of your life that no longer serve you to move on. That's the whole story of that. So as these, these full moons, are stopping these points, it makes room for other things in your life. So
yeah.
Endings are not bad.
Unless you're a cardinal sign, and then it's like you've got all these unfinished projects.
Then you never have a full moon.
I can say that as a cardinal sun and ascendant. So
so full moons don't really affect you.
No, of course they do. I wish they didn't sometimes, but they do.
Yeah.
And if you are a Pisces ascendant, this is happening in your 12th house. So this is the house of hidden and secret matters. It's our undoing. It can include things like hidden illnesses. So this could be things like mental health issues. It can be addictions. It can be just diseases you don't see either. You might be suffering, but to others you look like you're perfectly healthy. So yeah, there could be some sort of high point or completion or culmination at this stage to do with those matters. It's also rest and retreat. So this is a good time to be working behind the scenes. Maybe you've been working away at something and this is a time when it's completed or finished, or and you kind of can come out of hibernation.
Yeah, institutions as well.
Sorry, what was that?
Institutions for the 12th house.
Yeah. Places of confinement. Yeah, hospitals or prisons or monasteries.
Yeah.
It's a little bit somber, or I'm a little bit somber.
Yeah, but, I don't know what it is. I feel a little
yeah, it's not the most joyous full moon, is it?
No. Yeah, I think it's because it's that Saturn is right there. It's just right up next to it.
Yeah. That Uranus, Mars, though, that'll keep us on our toes, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think, with that, Uranus is known for the, shocking. And
surprise.
Not quite. Yeah, that's, yeah, we're all getting used to Uranus being in a fixed sign. It's there.
Yeah.
It stays in the sign. In the last video we did, it's in there for what, 7-8 years?
7 or 8 years, yeah. Takes about 84 years to go through the whole zodiac.
Okay, so I brought a crystal, and this is a good crystal. It is called an aquamarine. This is a rough cut of aquamarine.
It's really pretty.
Yeah, and if I had, and I'll show you on the pictures because I have a couple of them and I just can't find them right now. But this is a beryl type stone. It's like blue, but it's a variegated, because it can go from a very, very light and very pale color to like almost clear or white to a darker blue greenish, more of a teal color. So I'm wearing this color.
Okay.
I try to dress, I don't know what I gravitate towards the stones that I dress for, or dress to the stones I'm talking about. I'm not quite sure which one. Let's see, what else can I talk about? Oh, it's a hard stone. It makes it great for jewelry because it's a 7.5 Mohs hardness to an 8, which is very hard. It's harder than the quartz type stones. It's found in Brazil, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Australia, and the United States. It was first used in Greece around 300 to 500 BC. So it's been around for a very long time. It aids sailors. It's a good stone to be wearing when you are traveling.
Mm-hmm.
So nice. Yeah, it's I use it for moisturizing. That's that's the healing aspect that I use it for, is moisture. And when I'm saying moisture, I'm saying moisture to my skin, moisture to a throat, moisture to even plants. I'm starting to use some plants that are because we're in the summer and we're having a bit of hot weather. So I'm adding this to my plants.
So what do you mean by that? Like, do you steep the water in?
Yeah.
And then spray it on the plants?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
I make like a gem elixir for him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
do you have gem elixirs on your website?
I do. I do have them on my
Interesting.
website. And they are for
Excellent.
sale in the United States. I'm not so sure about liquids outside. I don't know how
Yeah.
I'll have to research that better. I have a request for someone for a gem elixir, but I haven't researched it yet. I've been on vacation last week. So I will be doing that. But yeah, I do have them on my website.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah, and that is the Aquamarine. And
so you were saying for your own skin sort of thing. So same sort of thing. You use the elixir like just as a spritz on your face or something.
Yes, yeah, this is
nice.
Yeah. And the thing with Aquamarine is it's a barrel, and the difference with Aquamarine and Emerald is the color. But it's a silicate that kind of it's the same thing. This would be the same thing as an emerald if it were greener. If this were dark green, it's the same chemical and the construction.
Oh, okay. So it's literally just like
just the color.
A pastel emerald.
Yeah.
It's like a pastel emerald.
kind of, yeah.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, that's the
Aquamarine. I like emeralds too, though, so no wonder I'm attracted to it. So
yeah, it's very moisturizing just to even have, and I use it on the third chakra. It's the water element. That's why I called it for today, is because the Aquarius is the water bearer, and this is a water stone.
Nice.
It resonates with the element water.
And because Aquarius is like that, it's not actually a water sign, though. It's actually an air sign. So but it is the water bearer.
It is right. Yeah, it is an air sign, but it is the water bearer.
No, I like it. Okay, so that is the full moon, and then the first aspect we have is the sun opposite Saturn, but that's 3 days later. We do have some aspects happening at the time, but they were covered at the end of our last video, which was the new moon in Leo. So I'll put some links to that. So we have the sun square Uranus,
right,
which will have just happened just prior to this full moon. There's Venus entering Leo, which again happened just prior to the full moon, and Mars sextile Neptune, which again happened just prior. But if you're interested in those aspects, just check out our new moon in Leo video. It'll have that information on there. So yeah, sun opposite Saturn.
A lot of energy. You just named off like 3 that are happening that day. Yeah, there's a lot of energy that day.
Yeah, and just not a joyous full moon. Just very hectic. But yeah, the sun opposite Saturn, retrograde Saturn. This is midway through the retrograde cycle of Saturn. Depending what houses it's in, this can be kind of might be just kind of, you might have some illumination about what restrictions, limitations,
difficult life struggles.
Yeah, what you've been struggling with, you might have a little bit more illumination about that at this time. And you might actually, this might be kind of, do you continue to try and battle this, to try and overcome this, or do you cut your losses?
Yeah. It might have a little bit of decrease in vitality.
Yeah.
Because Saturn has that restrictive kind of quality, and the sun is all about your vitality. So if you're feeling a little bit sluggish, just maybe plan for, don't do the marathon that day.
Yeah. Oh, wow. going to have Mars trine Pluto at the same time. It's interesting.
Yeah, we might have more, news. The Roe versus Wade and the Supreme Court, might have more movement on that as the states are trying to adjust to, all right, now that it's not federally, on the books with the law, the states will now have to, to juggle all that. And I think every time because I'm seeing Pluto and Mars, hitting, and I'm thinking that the states are going to have to come up, and as these states all juggle, what their laws are going to be. I think that's what we're seeing.
Yeah, I'm just looking at that Venus there, because Venus, Pluto were the aspects that were kind of being activated. And in the Sibley chart, which is a Sagittarius ascendant, that Venus will have just ingressed into the 9th house of law. So, yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
And as we're just talking, Mars, Pluto. So, yeah, this could be a real powerful drive. That Mars, it's not in a super powerful sign, it's in a sign of its detriment. But that trine from Pluto could be good or could be bad. Sometimes those trines and sextiles just allow the energies of those planets to kind of, what's the word? I want to say more easy, but it's early morning here, so my grandma's not up to
flow easier.
Yeah, flow easier. Yeah, it could be powerful, certainly powerful.
Yeah,
Pluto's in the superior position. It's a bigger, well, it's not a physically bigger planet, but it tends to be very
impactful.
It packs a wallop. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mars might smack you, but Pluto's going to take you out.
Yeah. Do you know when Pluto's going to get out of Capricorn?
I have a feeling it is. Let's have a look. I have a feeling it's in a couple of years.
Oh.
2024, but it'll probably go back. But I'm doing it by years. But yeah, by 2024, certainly. Let's have a look. Months.
It's retrograding there.
Wait, I lost it for a minute. Yeah, 2023. January. What's that? February 2024. But
okay.
Yeah, it might sneak in before then. I'm not sure.
Because I'm wondering on the dynamic if this is Pluto's last time of meeting up with Mars during a retrograde.
Well, it looks like April 2023. It will be in there.
Oh, so Capricorn Pluto isn't on the move. So this is the last time that Pluto basically is talking to the planets from the seat of Capricorn, about like what we need to change and what's not working and what we need to get rid of. And
yeah, but then in June it retrogrades back into Capricorn, so it's getting close, but yeah, not quite yet, but yeah, it's certainly getting there.
Yeah, well, it's the last time it's in conversation with these planets, so it very well might be more than, say, what we saw 5 years ago when it aspected Mars last. It might be a little bit more.
For sure. Yeah.
Because when the planets are at the end of their sign, they're like, I'm kind of done with this topic. Let's get on the move with it, and address it.
It will be interesting to see what happens that day. Yeah.
When a planet is at the beginning of a sign, whether a planet's at the end of a sign. When a planet's at the beginning of the sign, it's like, hey, let's go. I've got all my stuff. I'm ready to work. But at the end of it, it's kind of tired, and it's like, I am so done with this subject.
Yeah.
That it's something's going to change. It very well might be coming up for sure.
And then you've got your decans as well. Each sign is divided into 3 equal parts, and each decan is ruled kind of got a sub-ruler sort of thing. So yeah. Yeah, Mars trine Pluto, powerful actions, transformative actions, for good or for bad.
Yeah.
Interesting that you've got that opposition, Sun opposite retrograde Saturn at the same time. Maybe something happens that it's just, we were talking about with that Sun opposite Saturn, it's like, do I persevere, keep trying to, overcome these limitations, or do I just cut my losses? And maybe this Mars trine Pluto, maybe this either inspires you to keep moving forward, or it's just like, you know what, don't need it, don't want it.
So moving on to the next one. Are we ready? Oh, and that's going to be Mercury is going to trine Uranus, and a trine is a good aspect. It's not a good aspect. I mean, it is a good aspect, but it is a positive aspect, but it is, it helps things move along, whether it's for the good or for the bad. It moves it along, without obstacles in its way. So the trine has always been viewed as a positive, but it could bring things just quicker, without being stopped. Mercury is the planet of communication and our money, how our commerce is working, and it's the process. It's the process. It's you need to break the eggs and scramble them before you pour them in the pan. It's the process. So that's what Mercury's ruling is. And Uranus is just about like not the process. It's about like, it's like, let's invert this. Let's, add in meat or cheese to the eggs. I mean, it just mixes up things and adds in new things and steps up the eggs. And not that they're going to be worse or better, but it just makes it different. That's what Uranus brings to. We'll be bringing to that aspect.
Yeah. Surprising news, hopefully good. Yeah, Uranus very close to that North Node still at the time. So that surprise, shock, innovation, rebellion, revolution, all those kind of qualities are going to be amplified by that North Node. Hopefully helpful with that Mercury. It's communications, it's thinking, it's learning, it's, Donna said, it's processes, it's also messages, and it's commerce, like Donna said. Mercury's in Virgo, so it's in the sign of its domicile. It's ruled by Mercury, but it's also exalted here. So Mercury is very strong. Yeah, maybe good for innovative thought. But yeah, could be surprising news, shocking news. Hopefully shocking or surprising in a good manner, though, hopefully.
I like that. Innovative.
That's the hope.
Yeah. Well, if you're really, wanting to get a project completed, innovation is really a nice thing.
Yeah.
You want those new ideas if you're working out something.
When I see Mercury and Uranus in a nice aspect together, I kind of think eureka. It's like, aha! It's that
light bulb
moment. Yeah. It could be a little bit wacky, but
Yeah, I really like that. Mercury and Uranus. That's at 1:46 p.m. on the Eastern Coast. So, if you like meditating, might get some answers. I mean, take all the time I can get. Yeah. And that's going to be on the 16th of August. Very much. I like that one.
Nice.
I'll be looking forward to that one, along with the next one. which is I might do that meditation the day before when Venus and Jupiter are trining, and they will trine. Yeah, it is a trine, which is a very helpful aspect. I use this aspect for health when I do layouts. This is when you have the two benefics in an aspect that is a friendly aspect, and you work on your health with that aspect. I think it lends a little bit more positive energy.
Yeah, I was just playing with the chart there because Venus is moving pretty quickly. It's moving at 124% of its usual speed. Instead of if 100% is its normal speed, so it's moving, pretty fast. Whereas Jupiter's kind of at a really, really low speed. It's retrograde. It's very sluggish. So unfortunately, it's great, trine, wonderful. It's benefic. Like as Donna said, it's good for, lots of lovely things. But unfortunately, because Venus is moving so fast, it's going to go by very quickly. So grab it while you can.
Yeah, it's because you got one planet going this way and one planet, it's like already gone.
Yeah,
because it's just going the opposite way.
Yeah.
But still, it's going to aspect, and still it's going to be there, and
yeah,
very, very much looking forward to that.
Yeah, we need it.
Yeah.
And then Mars into Gemini. I was just thinking about that with it, and because here's those eights again. We've been talking about eights because why were we talking about 8 last time? In our last video, there was something. Maybe it was
Mars.
Jupiter.
Mars is going back to 8 degrees Gemini when it goes to 26, and then it goes back to 8 Gemini, I think.
Yeah. It's but we've got that at 8 degrees that Jupiter and
Venus
will be at 8, yeah. And then a couple of days later, on the 20th, we have Mars going into Gemini. So get ready, because it's going to be in Gemini until March next year. So wherever Gemini is in your chart, wherever Gemini is in your chart, get used to Mars, because it's going to get all the way through to about 25 degrees. So almost all the way through the sign, and then it's going to stop and retrograde. And it'll get back as far as 8 degrees, like Donna was saying. And then it, will stop. That will be in January next year. 12th of January, it'll station direct. And then it's got to get through all that sign again. So, yeah. So what are we now? August, and it's going to go up to March. So it's about 7 months.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
It is a very long time. It is excruciating long time, especially if you're a Taurus rising like I am. It's going to happen in my second house. So that's my house of finance. And I already know I need a new computer. So yeah, cha-ching. Yeah.
Yeah.
I already know.
Mars does like to burn up in the second house, doesn't it?
Burn up money.
I think burns a hole in your pocket. Money burns a hole in your pocket.
Yeah.
It's going to be my 6th. And but thankfully I'm a night chart, so it's not my malefic contrary to sex, so it might not be so harmful, hopefully. Touch wood.
Yeah, I wonder when the last time Mars was in Gemini for this long of a time. I wonder what years I was living through. I'll have to look that up. But
it's interesting. Yeah. Actually, I'm really curious to see that. That would be really interesting to go back and see.
Yeah.
I'm going to do some articles on that, I think.
Oh, yeah. I bet you it would have a lot of impact.
Yeah, that would be really interesting. Because Mars only retrogrades about every 2 years. So, yeah. So last
Yeah.
year it didn't retrograde. So this year it's going to hang around for 7 months in Gemini.
Be in one sign for 7 months. And if you are born in the daytime, it's going to be more of a malefic planet for you. And if you already know, then you can kind of, brace yourself. And, like for me, I've already started saving for my computer and, other things. It helps you, even though it's going to be there for 7 months. You can mitigate it by, doing some extra saving, or, don't go climbing up on some high mountain if where would Mars be for, if you were a day chart, don't go climbing up on a high mountain, when it's in your 6th house, or, but if you were, a fighter, if you were like a WWE or, mixed martial arts, and you were a fighter and that Gemini were in your 10th house, that might be a very good advancement. I mean, it might give you that drive, so depends on how you look at Mars.
Well, that's true too. And when it's retrograde, that's just kind of like, you're not going to have that forward motion. Mars likes to move forward, and when it retrogrades, it's going backwards. So it can be a little bit frustrating.
As our 401s all go down with the economy.
Oh my.
I'm hoping that's the worst that I have. All right.
And then
are
the
we
next
ready
day,
to move on?
Mercury. Yeah.
I know 7 months in these 4 minutes that we talked about it is enough for me. On the 21st, what is that? Mercury is going to be opposing Neptune.
Yeah. Confused communications, could be deceptive communications, could be just daydreaming. Oppositions do need to be balanced, but it's a challenging aspect. Mercury's very good though. It's exalted and in its own sign. Wow, I'm just looking at the essential dignities that we've got down here. At 15, it's in the sign of its rulership. It's in its sign of exaltation. It's also in its own face, and it looks like it's in mutual terms with Mars, which is interesting.
Ooh.
Okay, because Mars is in Gemini.
Right.
I don't know.
Mercury's other sign.
Yep, they're in their each other's bounds. So Mercury is very powerful. 15.
This could be a good time for intuition.
Could be, yeah. The fact that it's an opposition, though, I kind of.
Well, an opposition is kind of like, coming up from, over an obstacle and going, oh, I see you over there. That's exactly what an opposition is. So intuition could very well be. You might not know about it.
I kind of worry that, some people might almost kind of trust their hunches. You know how you sometimes you think you just know something, and sometimes you do, and sometimes you just completely, nowhere near the target. I just kind of see this, and I wonder if people will be like, yeah, I'm going to do this, my gut tells me this, and it's just like, no, your gut was lying to you. Listen to the brain. But so we'll see.
It could work on both ways. It really could, because I've got a lot of water in my chart. So maybe I work with that intuition where you are more mercurial and like listen to the brain.
But then I've got,
I know you do. You've got
Mercury in Pisces. I know. I don't know. Yeah, just It's more, I see that Neptune and I'm like, oh, what
Yeah.
are you up to?
Oh yeah, it's definitely obscurity could possibly play a role.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, that's the thing with astrology. You can't look at something and say it will be definitively this. You know, there's all these nuances, and you know, it's going to depend on your chart, and you know, if it's making aspects to your planets or your chart points and what houses it's in your chart and that. But yeah.
And what planets you have strong in your chart. You know, because
Yeah,
if
well, this
you
is true too.
have, yeah, if you have, you know, planets that are supportive, then it might be more positive. If they are in detriment, or if they are to the right of the sun, they might be more powerful than if they are to the left of the sun. You know, if you're bringing in all that Dexter and sinister type of things. So however that is, you know, is going to make a difference, you know, because we're supposed to have free will and we're supposed to have free choice. But I'm not so sure that the planets in our natal chart don't kind of edge us over more towards that direction than say that direction.
Yeah, yeah. Is the glass half full or half empty, you know, or, you know, can you refill it?
Exactly.
But yeah, I think this could be really good for creativity. I just wouldn't be so reliant on hunches.
No.
I would research that hunch before you jump.
Yeah, with Neptune in retrograde.
Mm, mm.
A little slowed down. Yeah.
See, that's my Capricorn ascendant.
See, you're
I
yeah.
don't relate to it very often, but I tell you what, it shows up.
They all do.
Yeah. So what was that? Mercury opposite. Oh, okay. And then we'll have Mercury trine Pluto.
With Pluto trine Mercury, it's that process again. And I think this has a lot to do with you know, I know Mercury and Pluto are going to meet up again many, many times because Mercury goes around 3 times.
Yeah.
But you know, this is that, you know, Pluto needs that Mercury to get that message out. You know what? This isn't working. This isn't working.
Messages from the underworld.
Or what is not working daily, because Mercury is in Virgo.
Yeah. Yeah, this could be positive. Powerful thinking, transformative thinking. Yeah, Mercury's in strong position here in exaltation in its own sign, and it's in the superior position. Yeah, I'm thinking this is a good time to get stuff done. Virgo is very analytical, very methodical. Yeah, good time to sort stuff out, I would think.
Yeah. Transformational. Yeah.
Oh, and then we've got the sun moving into Virgo the next day.
Oh. So the sun's ideas and its energy is going to go towards what happens to you on the daily. You know, what concerns you daily? Eating, exercise, sleep. These are all things that yeah, as I'm seeing August 23rd here, kids are going to be going back to school pretty soon. So sleeping is probably going to be you know, get down to those habits that we normally have. We're done with the summer breaks and the vacation and all that. Time to get on a better eating schedule, better diet, exercise, sleeping.
All the boring things.
Oh, well, you know, all those things that happen to make the world turn, because if you didn't,
I know, I'm just
a miserable world.
Fun.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. No, they are. They're but they're the mundane things. They're the things that happen every day. But that's what Virgo is strong in. I mean, Virgo likes that. You know, oh, it's time to eat. You know, I I know Virgos, and they're very scheduled. You know, it's like, oh, it's time to do this, it's time to do that, it's time to do this, it's time to do that. And if we didn't have that Virgo kind of sense in us, you know, we would, you know, there wouldn't be such a thing as lunch, you know, breakfast, lunch, dinner. It'd be eating whenever you feel like it, or, you know, it's just,
Grazing.
It's just more, it is easier if you're living with a group of people to be more scheduled.
Yeah, routine. You know, that's what they
Right.
say, you know, got a little child, babies, they need that routine.
Yeah.
And so do adults too.
So do, I was gonna say, so do adults. Yeah. Adults too. Yeah,
But
for
yeah.
sure.
The sun is in a sign for about a month. So over the next month, the sun is going to shine its focus on the house that is Virgo in your natal chart. So Virgo is a mutable earth sign. So it's practical because it's an earth sign. It's practical, reliable, dependable, but it is mutable, which means it's adaptable. So it can, you know, rise to the challenges of whatever happens. So yeah, very methodical. It's going to be with its ruler. Mercury will be there for probably another 2 days before it moves into Libra. But just whatever area of your chart, your natal chart has Virgo in it, you'll be kind of focusing on those topics over the next month, usually.
Sounds good to get down to a routine. And then the next aspect we have will be on the 24th. And that's Uranus is going to go retrograde.
Yeah, going to retrograde very close to that North Node, and it's going to retrograde back towards it. The North Node is also retrograde. I don't know if it's going to catch up to it. I don't know which moves faster. Let's have a look.
Yeah.
Let's do months. Looks like that North Node is
moving way faster.
Much faster. Yeah, wow, look. In February, there'll be 10 degrees between them.
Oh, is it stationing? Which one's stationing?
The North Node would have stationed at some point.
I was just wondering when Uranus was stationing.
August. What date was it? The 22nd? 24th.
24th, when Uranus is stationing.
Yeah. So, yeah. Uranus stationing. I don't really kind of pay a lot of attention to the outer planets stationing and retrograding. The thing is, if they are on a natal point or a natal planet, though, because they're so far out, you know, and they move so slow, because Uranus is going to station, where did I have that? It's going to station on the 24th at 18 Taurus. It's going to be retrograde until January 22nd, and it will move back to 14 Taurus. So it's only going to move 4 degrees in, what is that, about 5 months.
Right.
So I'm going to move back 4 degrees. You know, the outer planets kind of spend a lot of time retrograde, but because of that, because they're moving so slowly, if you've got a planet at, say, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14 degrees, you know, Uranus has been, you know, just going backwards and forwards, causing havoc and chaos and general confusion, and, you know.
Right. Yeah. If it's on one of your planets. Yeah.
So particularly if you're got planets around about there, say Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, or Aquarius, so from about 18 to 14, or let's say 19 to 13, you might be feeling the impacts more than generally people will.
Right. Those signs that are square to the Uranus now, or all
Yeah.
the fixed signs,
Yeah, all the fixed signs. So
because that would be those houses that we're talking about, or Lynda's talking about. Yeah. Or a lot of shocking things, or a lot of interruption in your life if you happen to have a planet on those degrees.
oh yeah, yeah. We've got a mutual friend who has it in their fourth house. And yeah, lots of moves, lots of residential moves, flooded out, and yeah, not good.
Yeah.
So Mercury moving into Libra. Mercury is not in detriment or anything in this sign, but it's moving from a sign where it's been very, very powerful. It was not only in a sign that it ruled, so it was like it's at home, it's domicile, but it was also exalted. And Mercury is the only planet that is, well, Virgo is the only sign that has a planet in its domicile and exaltation. So,
Yes. Yes, but that's not the case in Libra.
no, no. So it's a bit of a step down. It's not as organized and methodical and, on top of all that. But, having said that, it's in Libra. So it's ruled by Venus. It's going to be charming. It's going to be, social. It's not going to be so concerned with all the details.
Right. It might be more concerned with justice.
Yeah. Yeah.
With the
Mm.
in the sign.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's going to be by whole sign houses. It's going to be making a sextile to its ruler, which is nice. So the ruler, Venus, in Leo can help it. Yeah, it is losing dignity, but it's not in detriment. It's not in fall. It's in a nice, sociable sign, and it's a sign that is inclusive and welcoming. Yeah, I think it's a nice change. Maybe, you're not going to be so analytical, or, if you've been working on something that takes a lot of intellectual prowess, maybe this isn't going to be good news for you, but, it's just a change of pace. Like Donna always likes to say, when a sign changes, when a planet changes sign, journal, because it does. It changes from, one element. So it's going from earth to air. And it's also going from being mutable to cardinal. So that mutable can kind of adapt to things, whereas a cardinal, it's all excited and it wants to forge ahead and initiate, but they're not always so good on that follow through. Whereas your fixed signs, which when it gets into Scorpio, it'll be fixed. Those fixed signs can actually build on something that's been initiated.
Very nice. Well, Mercury I kind of associate with air, and Gemini is the air sign. So I feel like Mercury's not too far out of its element in Libra.
I think of, like, say, Mercury in Virgo. It's kind of like it's working. It's hard at work. It's doing its job. And in Libra, it's chilling. It's having some fun. It's relaxing.
It's more in conversation with it. Kind of wants to, check out, how others are handling the situation.
Yeah, there's more to life than just work. Yeah.
Yeah. More of a talkative Mercury for sure. Than in the Virgo Earth sign, where it does have dignity. I just think that Mercury is more talkative in Libra.
I just looked at the essential dignities too. It goes from, we had 15 a little while ago, and now it's -5. It's peregrine. Has no dignity at all.
Oh no.
Oh no. But once it gets to, what would that be? Once it gets to its own bounds, which must be probably not very far away, it's only a couple of days.
Right, yeah, just 3 days.
Just watching that chart down there. So once it gets to the 3rd of September, it'll gain some dignity because it'll be in its own
Gosh.
bounds.
Yeah, more than 3 days.
Mm.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't have dignity at all.
Yeah, no, because it's not in the sign of its rulership. It's not in its exaltation. It's not in its triplicity or its term or its face. It's like a stranger in a strange land. But you know, he's going to be charming.
It's going to be talkative.
Have fun. Pardon?
He's going to be talkative.
Yeah. And then Venus square Uranus.
So that'll be some possibly shocking news.
This could be disruptions in relationships or regarding our values.
A need for independence in relationships.
Yeah, could be. Or changes in relationships that, you know, we're not comfortable with. Uranus is in relationship astrology often linked to kind of a lack of stability, like, you know, Saturn, while it's a pain in the rear at times, it does bring stability, whereas Uranus, while it's exciting and new and, you know, it's not very stable. You know, Venus, oh my, and Venus is coming up to oppose Saturn too. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
So Venus, Saturn, opposition. You've got this relationship, but it's kind of a little bit boring. And then here comes Uranus to square both of them, to shake things up. And, you know, that might not be what both people are comfortable with. So, yeah. Or it could be, you know, sudden attraction to somebody new. Or
somebody different.
Yeah, different to your usual type. Or, you know, this could be the fling, the holiday fling. Or, you know, it could be a stable relationship, but, you know, they're transferred somewhere, you know. They've got to move somewhere with their job and suddenly they don't live in the same area. They're, you know, several hours away or further.
Yeah, yes. It could, you know, and then with the next transit that's coming up is the Sun square Mars.
Yeah.
That almost lends itself like, oh, you're, you know, I don't like this relationship and now we're going to separate. You know, it just it almost plays from one into the other when you have the Venus, and the Sun and the Mars. It's like, yeah. That cyclical thing that we were
going to have a new moon at the same time. I'm just trying to get this down to the. Let's see where the new moon actually is. Okay, so all this is happening with a new moon.
Yeah.
So that must happen. The Venus square Uranus and kind of coming up to oppose that Saturn the day before. Then we're going to have a new moon in Virgo. And then we've got Sun. So that new moon is going to have Mars squaring it. And that Mars will be at 4 degrees. So getting very close to where it will be in the shadow. Once it gets to 8 degrees, you know, you can probably expect things to already start to play up, even though it doesn't actually. When does Mars retrograde? I'm not sure when it actually retrogrades.
October 30th or 31st, I think.
Oh, okay. Yep. So even though it doesn't actually retrograde till later, once it gets to 8 degrees, which will be, let's have a look, about the 4th of September, things might start slowing down and kind of being problematic.
Yeah.
Because it gets to that degree that it's going to retrograde back to. So,
yeah. So whatever you're doing, you know, if you journal, you very well might be revisiting those topics again when Mars goes back, because it's gonna go in the sign and then it's gonna go back. So wherever it's gonna go back to, all this part is revisitation that Mars is gonna do and go over those same issues.
Yeah.
So
yeah, with that new moon too, you know, we want new beginnings, you know. So interesting. And there's going to be impatience with it, with that Mars squaring that new moon.
yeah,
Interesting.
it should be. It should be very interesting times, especially with, you know, the planets. They're almost like jumping up onto a soapbox. I'm not going to say a platform, but maybe a soapbox, you know, where, you know, Pluto is in its last stages of that sign. So it's going to be, it's going to want to be in conversation with all the planets to go, this needs to change, and that needs to change, and that needs to change, and that needs to change. So I think that's what Pluto's working on getting through with all the planets. And then you have all this new stuff that's, you know, that you have the new moon that's aspecting planets that are going to be highlighted or on their own soapboxes. I mean, this new moon's happening, you know, it's squaring Mars, which is going to be, you know, it's highlighted because it's going to be on its soapbox for 7 months. You know, it just seems like there's a lot of planets that are just wanting to step up onto a soapbox and go, look at me. it just seems that they're all wanting I can't imagine having 10 kids. I really can't, because listening to all of these planets all at once it would just be too much. But yeah, it's definitely moving times.
Yeah, I have a feeling with that Venus opposite Saturn coming up, having recently had that Venus square Uranus, that Mars squaring the new moon in Virgo. I think a lot of people are going to want change, and I think they're going to try and jump, and a lot of people will. And then I think they're going to be like, okay, why did everything stop or slow down? Or, you know, because I know Mars doesn't retrograde for quite a while, but it will enter the shadow period soon. But that Jupiter, that enthusiasm, that, you know, wanting to make big plans and move forward, and that's retrograde. Saturn, the planet of limitations, is retrograde, making us feel those limitations. Yeah, the second half of the year is, you know, going to be trying, I think, for a lot of people.
Yeah, there's a lot of hard aspects. They're all hard when they're squares and oppositions, but it just seems like they're going to be, you know, they're going to be in squares or oppositions to planets that are already in square or opposition with other planets. It seems like there's more of them coming together, more squares and oppositions together. So
and that Saturn's moving back to square that Uranus too. I'm not sure when that is. I have a feeling that's November, but yeah.
So
interesting times.
Yeah, this will definitely be, you know, a good reason to try to find out when your ascendant is. You know, get your chart, find out where these planets are going to hit in your chart. You know, what houses are going to be most affected. This would be a good time to get a hold of that and start getting it done, because it'll help you if you know how, you know, if you know the energy that's coming toward, you know, to you and what it's going to affect, then I think you'll have an easier time, you know, and you will know, you'll have an obstacle and you go, oh yeah, I remember, I kind of saw that coming, you know, I understand that was coming down the pike, and it's not a big deal. Like instead of going, oh my gosh, my car just, you know, I can't drive my car anymore. Why is this? You know, it kind of lets you know. That something might be up with that particular theme of your life. And that's why that's why it is really worth every bit of effort you have to try to get your accurate birth time, to get an accurate ascendant.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, so interesting times,
So
as I keep saying.
if you need your ascendant, you can either get a hold of me or Lynda, and we will be happy to help you work that out and get your ascendant.
Mhm.
Lynda, where can people find you and what are you up to?
I am at Scullywag Astrology. That's astrology.scullywag.com. If you do want to find your ascendant, there's something, if you go to, I think, horoscopes and then go down in the menu, it's got a generate your own natal chart. That will give you the details there. I'm doing readings, I'm doing year ahead, relationships, and just general natal readings. If you want to know a little bit about your chart and, you know, what it says about you, I can help you with that. Yeah. And what about you, Donna?
Perfect. Well, I do natal readings the year in advance. I do like to do those timing techniques. Um, I also do electional. I do horary, which is you ask me a question that is important to you, and I can give you feedback onto the answer to that question, whether it's buying that house or, you know, where's, you know, a lost item possibly. And then I work with crystals as I did with the Aquamarine, and I do layouts, and I can do distance layouts as well as in-person ones in the local area. Otherwise, it's distance. And yeah, I do those. So you can get a hold of me at through Donna B Astrology. You can get to my email address, which is donnabarconsulting.com. Or no, not it's donnabarconsulting@gmail.com. Yeah, it would be .com. Wow, that was really bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm wondering, well, we've had a couple of glitches. I don't know what Neptune and Mercury are doing at the moment.
They are definitely being shined on. My son is like obscuring them, I think. But yeah. So if you like this video, if you thought it had value, please like, share, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment, and let us know how you're doing and how your how these transits are affecting you.
Thank you for listening. Bye.
Bye.